Greetings! Welcome to this week's live recording. Is it a live? Can it be a live recording? It's a live. I suppose those two words seem like they don't really work together, but I suppose they must do because people do it all the time.
No, it works out pretty well, actually.
It works out. We're happy. Okay. Well, it's a live recording. There's only the two of us, though, and Ariel is already glitching.
You see. Wait, I'm glitching? You know, I'm just saying, you see, it's not edited. That's the point. That's what live recording means. It's just happening.
Right,
it's
okay,
recorded
so
as it's happening.
no edit.
That's what that means.
Okay, so we're already likely to have, there's a possibility of lots of issues today. Well, one is we're sans Ripley and sans David. Ripley's partying in the East Coast somewhere. I think he's in Boston. Although I did see a post on Instagram from his wife, and I got the impression it was that kind of neck of the woods. Maybe not. Actually, maybe
Boston's
that
very distinctive. Like you couldn't mistake it for something else, you know.
Right, okay. Well, I saw on Instagram a post from Ripley's wife, and it was a row of reformers. So, if you know what a reformer is, I'm not sure it's exactly an enjoy. Yeah. I'm not sure it's an enjoyable and relaxing holiday that he thinks he's going on.
No, that's all I want to do. I want to go on a Pilates holiday. I really do.
Would you? Well, you should come stay with me.
You have a row of reformers?
We have one reformer, and one person.
You do. Do you have a Cadillac machine?
What's a Cadillac machine?
It's another slightly more esoteric Pilates
machine. Don't tell my wife. We'll be having one soon.
It doesn't look like a Cadillac car.
All right, okay. Well, see, new studio, and part of that new studio is this Pilates studio just through there and down a stair and all the bits. So there we go.
Do you now have a podcasting and Pilates shared space?
It's not quite a shared space. This is my new office / studio. There's
Pilates casting. So the deal was. So both you and your wife got something you wanted out of the main house.
Well,
she wanted a Pilates studio. You wanted a podcasting studio.
Funny you should mention that. Having spent 4 years building a very nice brand new house, and then next door building a shed that's got a studio and a gym and other bits and pieces in it, we realised that we're spending all of our time in the little shed that we built with all the stuff we find really cool, and such as studios and gyms and stuff. But no, it's not bad, but we could just have lived in the old cottage and not bothered with the big new house. We should just have built the shed because that's where we spend all our time. But there we go.
Anyway, isn't that the point, that you're only home for like human needs, like sleeping and eating and bathing, and then the rest of the time you're somewhere else?
That's true, except I work from home generally, so I'm kind of here all the time.
But at least you have to physically walk outside to get there. That's a key distinction.
That is true. There is literally a 6-foot gap between the back door of one and the front door of the other. Enough to get a row of scaffolding between, and that's about it. But not quite wide enough for a car. I'd like
for you to go maybe 20 meters. Could you make that? Could you walk in a bunch of circles or take the long way?
Yes, there is a door on the other gable end, so I could take the long way to get through. The only thing is we designed it so that I have to go through the gym in order to get to the studio as a way of kind of reminding me that I should be spending some time in the gym. That was the psychology of it, but there's also another door. Anyway, this isn't very...
I just want to make sure that you have to wear a jacket and proper shoes in order to get to work.
No, I can run across. I can set the door.
That's too convenient.
There's electronic doors that I can set so that I can open one and open the other without any bother.
Here's the crucial question. You know how when you leave the house, I don't know about you, me, I feel naked if I don't have a watch on. Okay. Right? I can't drive away in the car without a watch on. It would be a problem. Okay. Can you step from your main house to your shed, as you call it, without a watch and feel comfortable, or do you feel naked without a watch in the shed?
I wear my watch pretty much 24/7. It's a Panerai.
24/7? Really?
24/7. I'm a 24/7 watch wearing kind of guy. Do you not sleep with your watch on?
No.
No, I do. But what's the point? What's the point of having a luminous watch? A watch with military lume like a Panerai and not wear it in bed?
Do they sleep with their watch on in the military?
Oh, the military sleep, arms crossed over the shoulders, gun under the pillow, flippers on, the whole 9 yards. The Italian military, military paneristi, all scuba dived up 24/7, ready to go.
So you think I'm weird because I don't intentionally try to fall asleep wearing a watch?
But why would you need lume in your watch if the one place where it's always dark, like where you're guaranteed darkness, like is either if you're on surveillance.
Do you hear me talk about like my love of lume a lot and how much I need it in my life?
Okay, fair enough. So if you've never truly experienced lume, unless it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, you wonder what time it is. You don't want to reach for your phone because that's a bad habit, reading your phone in bed. So you just turn your wrist, you see what time it is.
Here's a question. If you wake up and you know you're going back to sleep, why do you need to know what time it is?
Because there's a unique satisfaction. There's a unique satisfaction in waking up, feeling like, oh, I could get up just now because I feel well slept. And then looking at your watch and realizing it's 3 o'clock in the morning, you've still got another 4 hours. That's kind of you've got to embrace that sort of chaos in your life, Ariel.
And if you went back to sleep without knowing how much time you had to sleep, would it be less satisfying?
Actually, you know what? It would. I'm prepared to admit it here now. You know how last week we were talking about introducing an Ariel Adams agony aunt section? This is it. This is the first running of that section. Let's sit back, talk about your feelings. Talk about your feelings, Rick. So yeah.
Did you say agony section?
Yeah. Agony aunt.
Is that
not what you call them in the
Scotland?
States?
Is having any emotions considered agony?
Agony. I've never really noticed that before, but that's true. What do you call them therapy in the States? Here we call them agony.
Yes, we call it talking to one another. Very simple.
To one another. CBT. Right. Anyway, so
sharing was actually on your mind.
We're without David, who's a little bit under the weather, and we're without Ripley, who's currently being strapped to a Pilates machine, probably mostly against his will, from what I understand.
I do not wear a watch on the Pilates machine either. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. So are you a regular user of Pilates machines? This show has already gone so far off. This is actually why we started bringing David and Ripley onto this show, because it turned out that actually the combination of people that produced the least watch talk was actually me and you. We had to introduce the watch talk.
I let you host. I let you do the thing. You know, I'm just responding. I don't even think I'm bringing anything up at all.
Yeah, right. Let's in some chat. So if you're listening, you can watch and listen to the show live on a Tuesday morning. We're a bit of a late start this morning. Boris, don't believe that the Italian military would squash their feathers. Right, that's true.
I'm not familiar with that statement. What does that mean?
I think what he means is that they would squash their feather pillows. Like they'd be sleeping, because they're Italian, in fine satin sheets and the best goose down pillows, and that isn't a good combo with an aqua lung and swimming fins on. But there we go.
You know what would impress me? If you had a sleeping strap. You had a quick release on your strap, and you put a special one. I don't know what special. It's softer. Maybe it's made out of like a blanket material. If you had, like a sleeping hat, a sleeping strap.
A sleeping hat? Is that the sort of thing that sort of from a Charles Dickens novel?
Exactly, I don't know. It's like only Charles Dickens that comes to mind with sleeping hat.
Right. That because that's the last time I saw one was on a
if it's cold
a recreation
and you're sleeping and need a soft warm hat, it's a thing.
If it's cold and you're sleeping, are you?
If your bed chamber,
in your house?
Not these days. I don't wear a sleeping hat on a regular basis. I'm simply saying, if you've been in a cold environment, such as a drafty, I don't know, Victorian era.
For 10 years. Yep.
Yeah, it gets cold in your neck of the woods.
It does.
Drafty.
But you don't wear but hold on, it's just a hat. It's a hat you happen to be wearing. You don't call it a day hat if you put the hat on through the day. The fact that I'm wearing it sleeping doesn't make it a sleep. It's still a hat. I would also wear the same hat.
It's specially designed for that. It doesn't have a brim.
It's just a woolly hat. It's just a woolly hat. It's just a bobble hat.
A woolly hat? You didn't have the fancy version with the little towel, No,
that wouldn't keep you warm. That's
the
for
tassel
sure.
on the top? You didn't have the tassel?
That's for keeping your hair such as it is straight.
Oh, that's what it is. A hair preserver, so your wig doesn't get messed up.
Right, okay. So Boris, you can also see your watch at night in the bedside table or see the time of your alarm clock.
I have this Apple Watch that literally uses technology to light up when I walk by. It's fine that I walk by. It's like, I bet you want to know what time it was. I avert my gaze. No, I did not. I don't even know why I keep you next to the bed.
So do you own an alarm clock? A specific alarm clock that's not... I've
never used it.
Not an Apple. Never used it. Yeah, alarm clocks do seem to have gone out of fashion. Right, okay, Borisic has been on and clarified my idiocy. What he means is the feathers in the Italian military's hat. You know how they wear feathers in their hats? See, I'm thinking the guy is... Yeah, I'm thinking the guy is Special Forces and he's dressed, ready to go. He's got
what is it, like Prussia? What's going on over there?
That's how all European militaries work. We're all still in the Stone Ages, horses. That's why we need you Americans, because we don't know how to fight wars over here. Anyway, not enough equipment. Right. David's not here. Ripley's not here. We've talked about Lume. Maybe we should just give up and quit while
my company's not appreciated.
Right, let's find a watch to talk about. Let's talk about this. A aBlogtoWatch website. Let's talk about the Raymond Weil ART watch's hands-on debut, more than another integrated bracelet design. How so, good sir? Is this more than just a generic... We need an integrated watch, so here's our one for you, general public?
I think that's a fair question. And I don't know about you, but every single time I see a watch that's a case on an integrated bracelet, I think to myself, another one? And it just seems like brands are coming out with them because they feel that they need to. I understand the sort of follow the leader syndrome that occurs here in the watch industry. So yeah, that's part of it. And I wanted to distinguish Raymond Weil's from being just another Me Too integrated bracelet watch. Like we can always do one. It is that, but it's actually quite interesting the way they approach the design. I'm not the designer, but from what I understood talking to them and what you can clearly define from the watch, this is what I call like a time capsule watch. They're trying to pretend as though this existed in the 70s. They're trying to follow the design codes of Gerald Genta, and they're trying to imagine kind of in the generative sense, kind of like we give credit to AI for today. If Gerald Genta, was going to design a watch for Raymond Weil, what might it look like? Right? That probably was what they were talking about internally there. And it's really nice, the proportions. It's 38 millimeters, but doesn't wear too small. The bracelet does something that is very uncommon to see these days. And the bracelet is not just integrated on the side, but it's also vertically integrated in terms of the thickness of the case. So it really flows well when you look at it on the side there. The watch costs about $2,000, right? So it's not particularly expensive. And when you look at some of the competition, which is... honestly, Rick, 10, 20, 30 times the
ridiculous.
for a steel watch?
Yeah, so at 94070, not quite sure why you'd have that as your handle, but he is suggesting this is the Temu IWC engineer. I don't think he's wrong in the engineer vibes for sure, but this is $2,000 and not... What's an engineer going at? 14, 16, 18. IWC engineers are crazy prices now.
Is that like a shopping platform?
Yes, okay. Chinese, where you get all your, not necessarily knockoff, but it's not known as the highest quality of international retail sourcing. So looks like
something else, but it's less. Well, come on, Raymond Weil is very decent. That's not a It's not a suspect brand.
No, it's not a suspect brand, but I think they're suggesting that this is a cheap version of Ingenieur. I don't know that it necessarily is a cheap version of Ingenieur. It certainly looks like an Ingenieur. I'm not sure that this isn't the price an Ingenieur should be. What we've got in IWC Ingenieur is a really expensive Raymond Weil and not the other way around.
That's one way of looking at it. Look, I like the Ingenieur. I like the A.R.T. Yep. It comes in a women's size as well. So they came out with 2 versions simultaneously. There's like 5 versions of the men's. I just think it's a handsome watch. Again, it's not the most distinctive, but if like you just need a good looking integrated bracelet watch, want like a decent Swiss made brand, and maybe the PRX just isn't doing it for you, like this is, I think it's sexier than the PRX. PRX is a great watch. I'm not saying it's the competition. They're very different. One's a little bit more youthful and sporty. This one's a little bit more elegant and refined. But what I like about this watch is it feels nice. It has that flow to it. There's no sharp surfaces. It looks attractive. It's nice to wear. It's just a great casual timepiece. And it just, it's, you know what it's like when you have that watch you like, you wear it all the time, Mr. Panerai.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly the truth. So why is it called the A.R.T? Because it's A.R.T. What does that stand for? Does it stand for something?
Yes, that's an abandoned idea. They had an idea and then they abandoned it.
All right, okay. So they're not telling us what it stands for. It was going to be a thing and now it's no longer a thing.
They liked the name A.R.T. They didn't want to just say the word A.R.T. And then they realized it doesn't make for a good acronym. So maybe it just looks a little bit more interesting. It calls a bit of attention, a little bit of mystery. So if you've got a suggestion in the chat, or so you can email podcast at aBlogtoWatch.com. You can hit. What does A.R.T. stand for?
Yeah. What does A.R.T. stand for?
I have an idea for it. But you can go for it, or you can. It's very simple, but you have to sort of give me a little artistic hyphenation here. Okay. And for me, A.R.T. is just a Raymond Weil timepiece.
Oh right, yeah. Okay, it's like the JAR, just another rifle. You can also get hold of us. Let's see if I can get this to work. There you go. There's the Scan Me high quality QR code.
Why does it look like it's a little slider there? What's up with that?
It's a little slider. Scan Me app. Who knows?
Can you maybe do a better graphic here? Maybe cut the bottom part off. Maybe have like a little watch part of it here.
Yeah. Okay. I'll ask AI to do it.
Yeah, AI, make this pretty.
Make this pretty.
Make people want to scan this.
No, but see, we want to give the illusion of inclusivity. We're like a high-end watch brand. We're like Rolex. We want to give the illusion that anyone can come and join the club. But actually, we don't. So we don't want to. We're putting the QR code up just quickly enough that if you're really interested, you can join the very exclusive WhatsApp group and come and join the fun.
I still can't tell if you want people to join or not. I'm just not sure.
I want to offer people to join, and then we can. You
want to make it a little hard? Is that what it is?
Yes. It's going to be an effort. You've got to join a queue. Anyway, there we go. Boris is suggesting it's a lot better than a PRX. Yes, it is. So it's a lot more expensive. Well,
it's also 3 letters.
It's also 3 letters. Oh, there you go. Is this where we're at? All watch brands. They've just upped it by putting dots between them. The question is here's the thing. It's the A.R.T. dot. Is that last dot strictly necessary? Because that turns it from being 5 spaces into 6, which means it doesn't. I think you could remove it and
no one will notice.
I think that's true. Anyway,
but remember, Chopard LUC, just 2 dots.
Yeah, okay.
Just the 2 in the middle.
It's been suggested it's an absolute rip-off. No, actually, they're just kidding. Another reasonable timepiece. I
like that.
Also really tedious. So there we go. A reasonable timepiece. I like that. Yeah, that works well. Cool. Right. Well, you can join in, and you can. I'll flash the QR code up at the end of the show if I remember, and you can scan that. You can obviously see the pictures, the moving pictures on both Spotify. I
have an idea. You have imagine the graphic. Mm-hmm. The middle of it is the QR code or whatever.
Okay.
You need to say a aBlogtoWatch weekly WhatsApp group.
Okay.
And then ask AI to generate dancing watches. You remember the dancing baby that was so popular 2 decades ago or something like that?
Yeah.
Reference that and say, if a watch was doing this,
what would that
be? Have one on each side. Maybe they dance differently. Maybe they're symmetrical. That's my vision for your banner.
If this wasn't a job for Grok, I don't know what is. Let's see if we can produce this during the show.
Well?
Well, no, it'll not do it well, but it will do it. It will do something. It will do something.
Some of the programs are supposed to do stuff like that really well.
They're getting there. There's some very good ones, but I feel it takes almost as... It's the argument you have with AI. Have you had one of those arguments yet, which is like, so please do this thing, and then it goes away and doesn't do it. So you tell it you've not done it, and it comes, I'm really sorry I didn't do it. This time I'll definitely do it. And then
I'm so happy I'm not the only one that's had that experience.
It's still not doing it. It's like, no, for the love of all that is holy.
And then it gets more and more apologetic, and you're like, it's still not happening.
But where in humanity is it getting that from? If it's supposed to be a copy of what particular, is it Canadians? Is it getting it from Canadians? Is it that it's fundamentally just sorry for everything?
What do we blame Canada for?
For being sorry.
Oh, well, I mean, there's multiple layers of the system that you're interacting with, and one wants to do it, another one blocks it, and they don't really have agency. Those are the guardrails. Someday you'll have a super powerful one that you won't have those hiccups with. I just recognize that this all proves how unreliable it is. So it's fun, and there's a lot of things you can use it for, but like to make like really big decisions or to have output that humans don't have to fundamentally like review, like that's silly. We're nowhere close to unsupervised AI.
Yeah, I find that threatening one with the other works. If you tell ChatGPT, right, I'm fed up with you, I'm going to Claude to ask them to do this, but there's something in the background, or no, Gemini, asking ChatGPT, how come Gemini can look at YouTube videos and you can't? Driving an inferiority complex.
Gemini cannot look at YouTube videos, even though it's owned by Google.
Well, it can, but you need to ask it very specifically how to do it. And they have to be unlocked. So you can't do the stuff beforehand. The video has to be public. Sorry, this is going off on if you make the video public, you can ask Gemini to do, but it won't do it with just the link, even though, as you right to point out, it's the same company.
I went to a watch event over the weekend. I saw human beings playing with watches.
Oh, go for it then. Tell us about that.
Well, it was here in Los Angeles, and there's a retailer here in Southern California called Collective, which has evolved since how it started, but now it's a watch store, and they specialize in what we call independent brands. So none of the sort of big box corporate group brands, as far as I know, but mostly the little guys. So there's about 14 different brands there. Some very high-end things, as high-end as tourbillons, things as low-priced as maybe a few $1,000s. I would say that like maybe some of the Ming watches there were on the lower end, and everything in between. You had the Dominic Renault stuff there, which is pretty high-end. You had Chopek there. You had a lot of different things there. So it was a really great opportunity to see an interesting hybrid environment. And what I think is so important about this event is that they have a retailer there and representative from the brands, and everyone's okay with that. And normally, and this is where I'd like your input, a retailer is like, no brand representatives. I don't want you seeing my customers. You'll take them from me. Yet this is one of the unique situations where they were both there, happy.
Right.
And it's true. If somebody goes to the brand and says, I live in California, I want to buy it, the brand is like, please work with our retailer right here. They're pretty cool about it. That's not maybe all circumstances with all brands everywhere, but I was surprised at how civil it was and how well it worked when you could remove that barrier. When the people at the brands and the retailer were completely intermingling with the consumer.
Is it because of the size of the brands that were involved? Is it because they're specialist brands? They don't have the distribution that would say, well, go to X, Y, and Z representative in Fifth Avenue. I don't know whether this, Sorry, I've been asking ChatGPT to do thing in the background. I don't know whether it's working. I cannot tell whether it's changed the QR code. I need to scan it and see what it takes me. It's entirely possible that in asking it and uploading the QR code, it's entirely changed it and it goes somewhere entirely differently. So what brands were actually at the show?
Well, I mentioned a few of them. I don't remember a full list, and I don't want to sound like I'm trying to promote some versus others. A few others were Sartori Ballard, Karl Suki and Son from Vienna.
Okay.
I always pronounce it round. Hoth, whatever.
Holtenrichs?
Yes, that one.
From, is he, I want to say
nice guy, but I cannot pronounce him.
Yeah. Daniel Holtenrich, I think I think he's Belgian. If I remember
that sounds
correctly.
about right.
Yeah, right. Good stuff. So his 3D printing stuff's very good, but you should go and check out the arguments between them and Ming that go back in the day. So that's a fun deep dive. All right, okay. What's
Shapiro's there.
He seems to be doing a lot of collaborations these days. It seems to be all about
so there's this thing where Ming, I want to say one of the British brands, is it Fleming maybe? I don't know. And Shapiro are part of this little like group.
Right, okay.
Is it It's not Fears.
I don't think it's Fears, but there is somebody. We'll go to
maybe Fleming, because Fleming was there. They were definitely at the event. Fears was there as well.
Right, okay.
And they're part of this group of brands where they say they help one another.
Yes.
So part of that was this collaboration with Ming, and it was kind of cool. Shapiro makes the dial here in California. The dial is then sent to Kuala Lumpur, where Ming applies fire to it to change the color. Then it's cased up as a Ming watch.
Cool.
So that's a collaboration.
Yeah, on the website here. Yeah, the Shapiro, it is nice. They're lovely watches. Not for me. There's not enough lume on them. This is no use as a 24/7 wearer watch.
I mean,
couldn't sleep
where
with this.
you live, there's so many other brands I'm sure you would buy first because they're sort of closer to home that have that style. You're not exactly the target demographic because you have, you have closer stuff to you. Like, you could go and get a Roger Smith or something like that. Well, that's actually a lot more money, but like that's what all these guys want to be.
Yeah, yes, and you can see the kind of influence there. However, what is the influence here? Were they at the show? No, Bell and Ross were at the CR thing, whatever it was called.
They were at the Couture Villas with their little tiny waiting pool.
Right, okay. So Bell & Ross BR-XD micro rotor watch, hot cubism. I do like a Bell & Ross. You know how we've posited this theory that everything tends towards Hublot, the kind of Hublot convergence theory? I wonder
who came up with this theory? I'd like to know the academic behind this.
I think it was somewhere between David and myself.
I see.
Came up with the idea that everything just tends towards Hublot. That is like the heat death of the universe. Everything tends towards Hublot.
So Hublot is entropy. Interesting.
Yes, Hublot and entropy. Yeah, it is interesting. But I wonder if Bell and Ross is the dark energy that just keeps us doubting as to whether we've actually got it all figured out or not. Getting very physics this morning. I really like this, and I really like Bell and Ross stuff. Don't own one. The GMT watches they do are absolutely
I didn't write about it because I hate it.
Gorgeous. Yeah, okay, fair enough. So why do you love it so much?
I mean, it's like wearing a little piece of modern art on your wrist that happens to tell the time. It says, I spend time at galleries enjoying beautiful things.
It does.
Whether or not, yeah.
It says exactly that. But
it also says like I'm open-minded. It also says like I'm a little bit silly because there's no actual hour markers. It's a Parisian statement watch. It's got nothing to do with their tool watches. I do love Bell & Ross's tool watches. This isn't trying to be one. And here's the good news. It's not the tourbillon, so it's not horrendously expensive, and it's only semi-skeletonized, so you don't have to look at all of your wrist all of the time.
I would like to see them do this. Who's the artist? The cubist artist? I believe he's cubist with the colours. Is it Mondrian? Yeah, I think there's some lines there.
It's basically that. Let's be honest.
It's basically there. We just need a bit of spray paint and some gaffer tape. And
you could do that. I could see you want to put a little tape in there, not even to paint it, just a little micro masking tape.
Do you think if we unscrew those screws, does the top lift off, make it easy access?
Sure, you should try it.
Yeah, send me one, and we will.
I had to give it back to them, but this is a limited edition. Make one of them yours. It's only is it $30,000 or something?
I was going to say 30,000, 20.
Oh, less.
22,500. You got a positive bargain. So, what are you actually paying for here? Because
micro rotor. The smaller the rotor, the bigger the price. You know that.
Yeah, there seems to be a bit of a micro rotor theme going on. We've had a few for the past few weeks, from the micro rotor that wasn't, which was the Universal Genève. We got a rotor for a 28mm automatic watch, decides to put it in a 38mm automatic watch and call it a micro rotor design, to the Orage K2, which is a micro rotor, quite a big micro rotor, to this, which genuinely looks like a micro rotor.
The funny thing is, when the micro rotor was developed, it was a compromise. It's sort of like, how do we make it kind of flat? You can still see the movement. There are very small automatics. So from a physics perspective, you could have a smaller rotor and still give it winding efficiency. But the reality is, the bigger the rotor, the more the winding efficiency. The smaller the rotor, I guess theoretically it's more compact. But it's, again, no one should be excited about some tiny rotor. It's not a complication. It's not a perpetual calendar. It's not particularly special or hard to do. Once you architect the movement this way, it's just not something worth paying for. I mean, I guess it's cool to have, and there's somewhat exotic compared to a full automatic rotor, but it's like a car. The bigger wheels, the better.
So in the chat, 94070, still not explained his tag. Jumper, micro rotor, integrated bracelet. Someone needs to combine them. I would ask the question why, or are you suggesting that somebody has already combined them, but we just haven't?
I found where to see the chat now.
Yeah, or you can see the chat now, right? That's good. That's good.
He wants all of that?
All of that. You can also respond in the chat if you wish to type people a message back.
How about all of that inside of the rotor? Jump hour inside the rotor.
Integrated could you make the rotor? Yeah, but I mean, could you has anyone ever put all of the bobbins actually on the rotor and just let the watch spin?
Cardi has done some weird stuff about that. Weird stuff.
Cool. Anyway, Bell and Ross really like that. Really like.
I think it needs more color, though. I'd like to see more color versions of that. I think it's a bit.
I think the Mondrian is the way to go.
The industry is so obsessed with the color gray. Maybe this is my rant right now. I like a good gray watch. Gray is chosen because it goes with everything, right? Gray is a fashionably versatile color, but gray is also by definition muted, cold, not warm, does not have personality.
No personality.
It's a color that blends. It's not a color that speaks.
Okay. I agree. It's been suggested that the three letters that should be used for the jumper micro rotor integrated bracelet should be the FAD, the FAD watch. I quite like that. That's good.
What's going to be the DUM?
The double. the Bell and Ross future. Where do they sit? They're still 25% owned by Cartier.
No, Chanel. You mean
Chanel rather, but no longer at Watches and Wonders. Are they? Cartier lost it. What's happening?
Brands these days calculate the expense of going to these events as a function of how much money they make. And if they calculate that this isn't a great place to meet retailers to do business, they don't really want to do it anymore. So what you're seeing is a fracturing. And I've written about this in several articles where I talked about the fragmentation of sales in the watch industry, for better or worse. You're not in a situation where you could just go to a watch store or a watch event and expect to see all brands there. There's a lot of fragmentation. You have to hunt. Certain brands you'll only see go in these little events. Certain brands you'll only see at stores in this particular part of the world. Certain brands you'll only see at their own brand, mono brand boutiques. Others will be amongst these types of watches. Some of them you can only buy online. We're in an era right now where to be a watch lover also has to be a mastery of being able to be fluent in all these different areas all the time. And that's a complicated thing. That's hard to do. And it used to be easy. You can go to one place and basically see all the watches. Now there's no one website, one store, one part of the world where all the watches exist.
Yeah. No, it is a fair point. I guess it's how does a brand like Bell & Ross get on the wave of that kind of popularity that you occasionally see? Like Oris went through a phase. Nomos had its wee moment last year. Norcane's had one or two moments. Are Bell & Ross ever likely to have a moment? What do they need to do? They need to produce a plastic watch along with Swatch. You know what? A Bell & Watch Swatch combo is not a bad shout.
Bell & Swatch?
Bell & Swatch. I like that. Right. Okay, can we register that trademark, whatever now? That's not a bad shout, you know.
Yeah, like a $200 BR1 or BR3.
Yeah, I could see that. Come on, boys. Let's make it happen. I like that idea. Even though I came up with it myself.
You like Bell & Ross, you just don't know why not enough other people also like it.
Yeah, it's weird, and I think it needs some sort of breakout moment to, okay, it'll maybe not be able to sustain it, but it probably what it needs is somebody uber famous to randomly wear one of these in some ridiculous movie. What films are coming out? Star Wars or something. I don't know. But to wear a Bell & Ross in the next Top Gun movie, the next James Bond, that's what it is. Take all your marketing budget for the next 10 years and throw it at James Bond and have him wear a Bell & Ross. That's actually a marketing stunt that would work, in that people would go, what on earth is that? Let me go and investigate. They then realised they could only buy them in about 3 places in the UK or in the States. But
yeah, Bell & Ross used to be a lot more available in retail. So it was easier to find. And it was a brand that succeeded when watch stores were much more open to having different types of brands. Nowadays, you're like a TAG Heuer and or Tudor, and you're like, Bell & Ross? No, it's us or them.
Yes.
Okay. So there's a lot of that goes on, and Bell & Ross can't say, well, our 6 other portfolio brands, you want to carry them as well, right? So Bell & Ross has limited bargaining power in the retail sense. So that's one challenge they've had. Another challenge is to truly understand the brand. You have to have a relatively rich level of watch culture available to you. You have to understand what's good about the brand, what they've done first, what they've done well, where their prices are good. You have to compare it to a lot of other things. You have to recognize, where their stuff is basic and where it's fancy, and just how to navigate the brand. I don't really know how well it comes across to novices, but I suspect it's a bit difficult to understand the price point. The brand is very polished looking, but it's confusing. Like, do you guys actually make tools? Like, you know what I mean? It's a little bit difficult to understand. And it hasn't been able to compete as well outside of that retail environment that was open to selling watches like that, where Bell & Ross at $3,000 or $4,000 looked like a great value compared to, that Rolex that maybe was a little bit more boring looking. So I think it's a great brand, but I think that they're a victim of a marketplace which has changed, and they're still trying to figure out what their voice is in a new place, despite the fact that they have typically a pretty strong catalog of watches. Not every single one is perfect all the time, but like at any given time, they have a couple of like really good, strong value propositions.
Yeah. No, I mean, anyone who gets a chance, you ever come across one, at the very least try on one of the GMT watches. They're lovely. They're square watches, and they're very comfy. we moved to a square watch, which I've yet to find anyone that can. I legitimately believe when they say that this is a comfortable K-shape to wear. But this is the latest from TAG, the TAG Heuer Monaco Speed 12, an engine-inspired jumping hour watch. First question, did you watch the Grand Prix at the weekend?
I didn't know that happened.
Okay, it was the Monaco Grand Prix. I have one question. Yeah, I have one question. When are they going to stop having the Monaco Grand Prix? It's a completely pointless exercise in racing. It's just fashion.
I stopped caring a long time ago, apparently.
Yeah. So it's just nonsense. Do away with it.
You know who loves a good fashion parade? Luxury watch brands.
Luxury watch brands.
Boy, do they.
Oh, yes. And they got to parade this at the Grand Prix, I assume. I quite like the idea and the execution of this. This is is it Sartori Billard? Who's got the spinning?
You're talking about Louis Vuitton? That's this movement?
Oh, is this Louis Vuitton's movement, is it?
Yes.
But just fastened onto, of course it's Louis Vuitton, it's owned by Louis Vuitton, what we're talking about. No, there is a small brand that also does a very similar thing.
Ludovic Ballard?
Ludovic Ballard, that's the man. They're nice. Go check them out. What do we think about this from TAG Heuer? I've not looked at the price yet. I dread to think what TAG are trying to charge for this. Is this a complicated movement, first of all? Or is it axe?
Yeah, it's also several generations into it, so it works pretty well at this point. So that's good.
Yeah, the design is nice. I like the idea. It does have a car theme.
It's got one really weak element on there. Two really weak elements.
The K-shape, and what else? What's the other weak element?
I mean, it's a Monaco. That is an element.
Yeah.
That's like
most of the watch. Should put it in a Monaco rather than some sensible case. So what's the other thing? Has it got a running second in any way, shape, or form?
No, I don't think so. Is there
any way to tell that this is actually working? No, I don't think you would see anything through the faceplate.
So when the piston turns, which is ironic because that's not what pistons do.
Yeah, that's true. Yep, it should.
It turns to display the active hour numeral, right? So in the picture here, they're all blank except 12. Yet the problem is this black text, which it's not exactly very legible.
No, that's a good point.
So that's seeing the hour, like the whole point of a jumping hour watch, which this is sort of in theory, is that you can see it easily.
Yeah.
So that I think it kind of fails on that. And then that minute hand, boy, that looks like just a stamped, like one process, like stamp, tip, little red tip, boom, or sound. Like this is an expensive watch. You're looking at the hand all the time. Does it get more like boring than that?
No, that's a fair point. It is a good point that the pistons don't do pistony things because they turn. B, you've got black text on a curved reflective surface. So yeah, you are going to be spending time looking around for which one has turned to reveal the text. They should have put
It'll
the text
help you admire the beautiful movement. Look, it is very cool looking.
Very nice.
I'll give it that.
It's very nice looking. They should have put it in red though. It should have been red text. It should have been black text.
I'm just saying, like,
or yellow or something.
It kind of shows you they'll maybe make a few every once in a while. Look, they'll make one in gold at some point. You know that's coming. That has to be coming.
Yeah. And the hour marker does look like it was stamped and somebody just dipped it in a pot of enamel paint.
Wow. That's not particularly like compared to the Louis Vuitton.
That is not a pretty backside, shall we just say. Why? I'm a bit confused by that, actually. So could you call it, in Universal Genève speak, this is a micro rotor, by the way. This is probably the same size as the UG micro rotor. But why have they kept the brass or gold or whatever it is gear train looking like that? That looks particularly cheap.
I think it probably looks nicer in person. This is just not a very flattering picture.
Maybe. Just bad photography. 1 of 50. So we haven't guessed the price, or do you already know the price?
I mean, I don't know exactly. What's the Louis Vuitton equivalent?
What's the full?
Oh, at least $50,000 at least.
Right. Okay. So 50
maybe
grand.
More. Maybe as high as 100. Between 50 and 100.
Yeah, I think double. I think 100. They're going to try to charge something. 87.
Oh. I mean, I had a big spread though. Yeah,
you had a big spread, but
you were totally wrong.
I was totally wrong. Yeah, 87. Yes, it's like Price is Right. If you're over your burst, yeah, there we go. 2 square watches. Your favourite of between those square watches? If you had to own any square watch, what square watch would it be?
I like square watches. I would have to narrow it down to like 10 or 15 watches. There's a lot.
Conscience, pick a favourite.
That's it. The 10 or 15 ones I narrowed down to.
Okay, so what is on there? So would the Monaco be on? Would any Monaco be on that list?
Maybe not. Maybe it's a good chance that it would not be. Maybe.
Okay.
It'd be considered.
Right. Let's revisit as we bring
I'm only allowed 10 or 15. Okay. If you allowed me 30 or 40, definitely.
It'd definitely be there. Okay. So give me in no particular order. Okay. James is in the chat. He's saying Octofinissimo. Anyone else got any nominations in the chat for square watches? The
Bell & Ross, the BR1 or BR3. Absolutely. Yeah, Santos.
Okay. Octofinissimo?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. It's a really well curated list. Yeah, sure. Stick it on.
I swear, when I think of that watch, I'm like, square? Pardon this, I guess. It's like one of many shapes going on.
Okay, in case you missed it, section from Tom on the website, the Royal Pop detonates, the Swiss put DNA in watches, and more from us and the media industry.
What does that say?
This is the Swatch. For several, this is their
last sentence is super awkward.
The Royal Pop collection will remain available for several months in some countries. In some countries, queues of more than 50 people cannot be accepted in sales.
Where is that accepted? Where is that totally fine? Where it's like, no, we're all into that. In other countries, it's in our constitution. There can never be more than 50 people in line.
What country? I mean, that like Sweden would be that kind of country. The Swedes don't wait.
I don't wait. I'm not Swedish.
Well, you don't wait. That's okay. Are you sure? Olek and Weiss, 8001 being suggested as square watch.
That's a square?
I'm going to say I'm not familiar with the reference.
I feel like I reviewed that and I can't think if it's a square. Did I?
All right. But I'm trying to find one. Olek and Weiss.
The Tundra. That's not a square.
It's not a square watch.
What are you talking about?
James, wake up, son. It's not a square watch.
The 8001 is like a manlier version of the Raymond Weil ART. That's what it is.
I'll show you the 8001. So maybe the reference number is wrong.
ART on steroids.
This is the only website that I could find.
See, is that not the ART on steroids?
It looks like a Tudor Royale. It's actually quite nice.
Yeah, it's dope.
That's lovely. Although it is one of the few brands that, when sent a press sample, I'm sure Ariel did review it, but he didn't review it as a square watch.
Yeah,
I think is the point.
We were talking about square. The hour markers it has are very rectangular. Okay, I can see why you'd have that confusion.
Yeah, I like
bezel's got trellising or whatever.
I like Olek and Weiss. It is, however, the only brand I had to send a review sample back saying, guys, you really don't want me to review this because as you wound it, everything spun. It was clearly been damaged by the press person previous that sent it on to me. But they are lovely watches. Go and check out Olek and Weiss if you haven't recently.
The Square Bang.
The
Square Bang.
Yeah, Hublot Square Bang, like that. So, yeah, we can discuss as to what country queues of more than 50 people cannot be accepted. We had Superlative Podcast, Justin Jacobs of Camp Watches. Can you recall, the problem with asking you about can you recall podcasts is you may have recorded them 4 months ago and not have a foggiest idea even who these people are. But can you recall this one?
2 months ago.
Justin Jacobs from Camp Watches. Was it a particularly memorable podcast? I have not listened to it, I have to confess.
Well, he's a designer here in Los Angeles, so that was a big element.
All right, okay.
You know, and I like talking to the sort of smaller brands that come up from Los Angeles. It took a while when the sort of like Microbrand thing started. If it was from the United States, it wasn't from LA. And then there started being a fair number of them. His brand is Camp. It was actually the current giveaway right now on aBlogtoWatch.
Right, okay.
So it's actually nice timing there.
Okay.
These are pretty nice watches, to be honest. They're manually wound, so there's that. But here's someone that this is their first attempt. Each dial is a different color. He has some of the most beautiful lacquering. So I forgot the name of the company. We all talk about it. It's on, I think, the article as well as one of the watches. But there's this company that does lacquering for like high-end stoves, you know, like the ranges and stuff like that, like this thick appliance, you know, lacquering. And no one had ever used that to make a watch dial. And it's really, really nice. It looks just like deep flamed enamel, but in some ways higher quality. So the combination of him being like a typography nerd, also like really into colors and like little tiny details, it's just particularly nice. And this is real artsy stuff. This is yes, it's sort of a tool watch, but it's very artsy. And you know, you really wouldn't know that by seeing just a picture, but it's pretty well done. So I want to talk about the guy behind it, what he's into, what he's going to do next. And, you know, it's one of those little one-person operations, and, you know, they can only do so much. And they never charge a lot. It's if you look at the number of watches they make, how much time they put into it, what the retail price is, you're like, you know, in a couple of years, they won't even be able to afford this little. Like, they're doing it because they're like really brand new. But like, there's not, and then some of these new brands are terrible. So it's not like every one of these guys does good stuff. You really got to look individually. But this is one of the good ones, in my opinion.
Cool. James is pushing back, suggesting that this is the round dial on a square case. I'm sorry, James. This is not a round dial on a square case. That's not a square case.
There's like a square hiding in there somewhere, but it's hidden.
Somewhere in there is a square. As you could cut a square case, it's true. There's a square at the bottom, but it's really a rectangle.
He sees a square. I believe he has a vision.
Is it also blue and gold, or is it white and green, or whatever that thing was?
Oh, color blindness? No, I don't think he has that.
Is there such a thing as not? Is there a shaped version of color blindness?
Probably.
If somebody
that would make his life easier. Imagine he likes square watches. He has all these watches he thinks are square. We're like, it's not. All these great square watches. I hate to break it to you, pal. None of them are square.
Do you think anyone has ever worn a watch and really not understood so much what it was they were wearing that other people were talking about them behind their backs?
I'll give you a version of that. I've had people who have vehemently defended the practice of wearing a watch that's all wrong, like the time isn't set and all that.
All right, okay.
And I think they're just sort of protecting their laziness, but they would go on this whole rant about, like, you know, I don't need to see the time, who has time for that? It's just cool. I like the design. Is it not okay just to like the design and to share values of the company? Like, the company's values are to keep you on time. That's why you like the watch, yet you are dishonoring the company's values. But I think that if someone routinely had a watch that didn't at least tell the current time accurately once in a while, that would be a reason to make fun of them behind their back a little bit.
Okay, yeah. I just want to be like
droopy eyes.
Yes, I think he's saying. I think he's saying he's embarrassed that he's realizes he's wrong, but maybe not. Maybe he's just tired.
No, he's only emboldened now.
He's only emboldened now. So yeah, people who think they're Andy Warhol because they're wearing watches that don't tell the time, don't bother. And then let's see what's finally. Some platform aiming to counterfeit by giving your watch its own DNA sequence. How could? Because we've not made Hollywood blockbuster movies about that going wrong. I'm not quite sure what that is, but somebody is trying to.
Why did we talk about the sponsored post of the watch with testicles? I find that hilarious.
Where's this? What?
I can't pronounce the name of the brand. That is a problem.
Okay. Well, okay. This is a sponsored post from us.
Yes.
Okay, I'm scrolling down. The website is live. Tell me when to stop, or will it be obvious when I see it?
June 3rd, I think it came out.
June 3rd. We're on June 5th.
There
June
it is.
3rd. Oh, this one. The ATI ZEM watch debut with... Okay, there's... If I didn't think I was dyslexic, I would now, because all of these letters are not in the right order. I'm concerned. I need my eyes tested. The Enigma collection, an Ottawa-based... Well, they're Canadian, so at least they can say sorry. This is weird. I mean, that's horrible. That is horrible. But the other thing, that's strangely alluring. That's got a whole kind of... Okay, lose the plate. You don't need that.
Oh, the appeal of bull testicles.
Yeah, but what's it's kind of like what's the director? Hitchcock. It's kind of got Hitchcock vibes, you know, the wee shadow. But who is it that does their watch straps like this? Big high. Is it Beauvais?
Kind of.
This kind of Beauvais. Yeah, it's a beautiful mess. The other thing is horrible, but that's a beautiful mess. How much is it? It's only $600.
You know what?
If you like it, you like it.
The first watch I ever remember really tearing apart from a design and marketing perspective was a watch called the El Toro.
The El Toro.
That's why I think of this watch as the spiritual successor.
The El Toro will... No,
it's not on the website. It was on an Our Time show that John Biggs took down because he was embarrassed of the... Maybe, I don't know. We were making fun of people, and he thought that was not appropriate as we had children. Anyhow, you will find pictures of the El Toro watch on the internet. Maybe we've written about, someone's written about it. But this watch, to me, this is by no means as bad. I would wear this watch, actually, even though it has funny things. But it's the spiritual successor because of the testicle lugs.
I'm assuming you don't mean the El Toro by Ulysses Nardin. It's El Toro.
No, I'm sorry. Not El Toro, Bull Toro. Bull Toro.
Oh, as in one word.
Yes.
Bull Toro.
Bull Toro.
I'm getting Bulnova, Bull Toro. No, not seeing anything.
Let me find it. The
internet. Bull Toro watches. Oh, that might be something.
Look, this has been a really long time ago, so please give me a moment here. I think it's Bull Toro.
Okay, I've got... I don't... Is it this?
Yes, it is Bull Toro.
With two L's.
Yes, Bulltoro.
Okay, if you go to the website, this is what you get.
Go to the Google.
This is the website.
No, go to Google image search.
Given up. So Bull
type in Bull Toro wristwatch.
Yeah, I'm doing it. Bull Toro.
I don't know. I do not know why you're not seeing this.
Maybe
go to images.
Yeah. I'm on images. I'm just not.
There we go. There it is. See on Pinterest.
This thing here.
Yes. See different dials. There's an analog dial and a digital dial.
Is this...
It's a whole family.
And is this the guy responsible? Hold on a second, because all I can find on Bull Toro, there seems to be a website about him. Is this Mr. Bull Toro?
I don't know.
Yeah, this could be. There you go. There's his Facebook page.
There's his phone number.
Yeah, I think this...
Call the hotline.
Wow, that's
all the Bull Toro fun.
Get your bulls and your toros here.
When was this? This was an Indiegogo project. From what year was
2014, it looks like.
Possibly no, it was earlier than that. I feel like it was earlier than that.
Let's see. Win a Bull Toro. I'm scared. I'm going through a Facebook page live. I'm scared about what I'm going to find. Oh, there's there. If that wasn't an image worth memeing, I don't know what is.
Notice that you may never find an actual... Like, was there any real ones? Because you're seeing all these marketing images.
Your son is going to the real... Get him a real watch. Buy a Bull Toro now.
Or maybe Red Bull just finally caught up with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm closing this because I'm afraid this is going to get dangerous any second now.
No, but this is bringing me back. We maybe spent an hour making fun of this.
And to think that Jason Biggs decided that wasn't worth preserving. John
not
Biggs,
the actor.
Jason Biggs. He's an actor, isn't he?
By the way,
for posterity.
The account had 9 backers on Indiegogo and made a total of $1,350.
And was that enough to launch the watch?
I do not know that.
No, it does not tell you.
Do not believe so.
We did declare possibly incorrectly the return of the fashion watch, which is what that is. I think we'll just finish with this to come full circle on last week's show, because I think you'd say these guys, if anyone's producing a fashion watch, it's Versace. You keep reviewing Versace watches. I'm concerned. Is the store next door? Well, just because it feels unhealthy. It feels you've got too many of these to review in your life.
What could go wrong?
This is the least offensive of the Versace watches recently.
That's what I was going for.
Is that what you're going for? But tell me about it. Is it it looks like a PRX.
Don't you have a young relative who you want to get this watch for as a gift? Isn't there anyone in your life who's like needs a thin quartz? It's a perfectly, a little bit of personality. Says I got a little bit of, I like, I don't know. I like wearing dark sunglasses and I
like wearing dark sunglasses indoors. Yeah. That's exactly what this is. I like wearing my sunglasses inside. Yeah. This is the watch for my brother, who also likes wearing watches inside, sunglasses inside. I don't, but it does look like a PRX strap and case, and then they've just gone over
it's nothing
with an
like a
engraving
PRX.
tool.
Nothing like a PRX.
With an engraving tool with Versace. Are Versace capable of producing? They should be well, no, actually, I'm taking it all back. Are they capable of producing a watch that everybody would like? I mean, you've got your Ralph Lauren Polo watches, which are divisive to say the least, especially on
they're not going for. Look at their clothing. Do they have any article of clothing that's trying to be for everyone? No.
True. But is this for? I get that. But how much is this watch? It's a $1,500 watch. Is a person that's buying a $1,500 shirt buying a $1,500 watch? Or is the person buying a $1,500 watch buying a $20,000 watch? Gold.
Yeah, the watches are still mostly priced under a lot of the expensive clothing. It's not as cheap as they used to be, but an expensive Versace outfit is going to cost you significantly more than the watches, whereas a high-end Ralph Lauren is going to cost more than most of the clothing.
Do they
Same
even
thing with
have
Louis Vuitton? Like, if you want to spend a lot of money in Louis Vuitton, it's not through their clothing; it's through their watches.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the Versace website, new and women.
Can do some shopping. I could use a new silk shirt if you don't mind.
Well, I don't actually see watches mentioned here at all. Where are the watches? Of
course you do.
Oh, watches! You have to dig in here.
It's there, waiting for you.
I forgot. Agree. I don't want to.
Oh, they want to know everything about you. What is your wrist size, sir?
It's got the Greca. It's got Glashütte vibes about it with that date complication.
That's
dials
from Rhonda with Love.
The dials are not symmetrical. The dials are not symmetrical about the center axis. That's
intentionally
weird.
Not trying to be symmetrical.
A little bit high up. There you go. Square watch. Would this square watch, the Medusa and Taris, would that
That's more of a square watch than that 8001.
That's fine. Would that make the cut?
With a giant logo in the middle.
Yeah. I think that's all we need. I think if Versace, they need to.
No, it gets better. It gets better when they get plastic. Look at the plastic ones.
Oh, right, okay. Well, that's like 870. No,
that's not what I'm talking about.
All right, okay. What are you talking about?
Go back up. You see it says show more? Show more. No, you missed it. You missed it. So
I'm showing more. Oh, these ones.
Now you're talking.
I mean that one there, the Formex lawyers will be in touch.
Oh, the pink one with the gold. That's so you.
You think?
Look how much it costs for like a budget G-Shock.
$672. I mean, this or a Royal Pop that you hang around your neck, or you hang around somebody else's neck. Actually, neither, to be honest. Right, well, on that bombshell, this literally is a bombshell. Look at the state of that. Look at the state of that. We will leave you with the Versace Real Active
Doesn't it look good
Watch.
With Pilates?
Yeah, this and a reformer. It's what you need. It's what everybody needs.
So from that list, what would you prefer that I would have reviewed? What do you think would have been more appropriate?
I think.
What's the aBlogtoWatch Versace of the month?
Oh, no, you know that's a category we're coming back to, which I would actually. I mean, that's okay. The 4 Swatch. It's a bit kind of. Bland, it just says Versace. That's kind of, you could hide that under a cuff. That should be the challenge. The challenge should be that we have to spin the wheel for the full aBlogtoWatch team. And do you remember, like in Top Gear, when they did their challenges, there'd be like an old rubbish car would follow them around in case the cars they'd chosen had broken down. If you recall that, right? So we have to find the watch. It might be this, might be. It doesn't want to be screamingly obvious that it's a terrible watch, but it just needs to be terrible enough that if you know, you should know. And then that person that loses the bet each month on aBlogtoWatch has to wear that watch to an actual watch event and be secretly filmed trying to say that this is a great watch and just see how far they get. And I think this is the kind of watch you could do that with. It's not an Invicta that's obviously horrible, but it's still clearly absolute rubbish in the grand scheme of things. So I think we need to, it's the star in a reasonably priced cars. The watch, not Banabas.
It's the wristwatch of dunce caps.
Yes, exactly. So So I think that is what we need. So we need a search for the watch, the aBlogtoWatch punishment watch that you then have to wear to the next show that you're going to, and be filmed doing wrist. You're at the NB&F stand at whatever show, getting a wrist shot with Max Busser with his $300,000 watch on, and you've got a Versace Greca Force. That's the shot we want. That's where we're going.
So much worse than a Versace. You could get, if that's the category, if that's really what your criteria is, you can get so much more inappropriate.
So we need to find, but it needs to not be stupidly inappropriate. Like, it's not just a big Invicta. It needs to be almost getawayable with, to the point out, you're almost trying to get the guy at the boutique to go, wait a minute, am I being punked here? You're trying to challenge the politeness of the people in the boutique.
Most 1980s Omegas.
Okay, well, that will do. Well, let's find that watch.
The ones in Omegas Omega today is embarrassed that they ever had anything to do with.
Or maybe like Cherry Nataf Zenith. That would also do. But let's find, it needs to be a watch that's available today. We need to be able to go out and buy it. We'll spend some budget on it or get them to send us. The aBlogtoWatch punked watch, the You've Been aBlogtoWatch, the You've Been punked by aBlogtoWatch, whereby you're getting your photo.
Too bad they never made the Bull Toro.
Exactly. That would have been it. Perfect. Right. That's our show for this week. Thank you all very much for joining us.
Find the Bull Toro that was made.
Yes. If you've got one, we'll check and see. Do you think we could get it? It's not going to be over $1,000. So not like, what's the limit for eBay's thingy?
$1 million.
Where they check the watch for you that it's genuine. Is that $1,000?
Like $1 million.
No,
that's the limit. You mean the floor?
The floor. The floor. What's the floor? Is that $1,000?
$2,000 if I remember, to get it for free. And then if it's $1,000 or more, you pay like maybe $80, I think.
Okay. So if I find one for like 20 quid, stick it on eBay, you buy it off of me for $2,000. I'll give you the money back. We'll just do the transaction so as we can send it to eBay's team to see what they have to think
what
of it.
What are we buying? What are they sending out?
We need to find a bull toro.
I don't think they made it.
Well, we'll find something equivalent for like $80. We'll buy it. We'll put it on eBay. You will then buy it for $2,000.
Okay, your budget needs to be like $800.
No,
and
but
someone has to give you options.
All we're doing is we just need to prove that there's been a transaction. We'll give you the money back.
Why do we need to prove the transaction?
Well, because if we do over $2,000, it automatically goes to eBay.
You need
to get
third-party verification that's a punishment watch?
No, I want to see what they do with the punishment watch that you send the eBay verification team. I want to see the letter that comes back.
I'm just saying, if you want to experiment with eBay's authorized thing, don't make it be with the punishment. Make these two separate scenarios.
Okay, two separate. So punishment watch nominations for next week's show, and then we're going to figure out how we're going to punish.
Get Rick into modern watch buying. Convince him to try it.
Convince me to try and buy a modern watch. Right. Okay. Thank you all very much for listening. We'll see you again in a week or so's time. And maybe before I was back, that might mean we talk more about watches. Cheerio. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.